Hello, my name is Luke Munt and I am the manager of educational technology, and today I'm going to show you Tinkercad and how to get your students in DPS started with this. I've been using Tinkercad with students for just about a decade now. It's really evolved. It's a super powerful tool and it's pretty easy to use with students, even though it handles really complex things. It is by far my favorite 3D design program. It is our official DPS program that we suggest. There are other things that you can do out there, but this is really an industry standard, and that is because it is created by Autodesk. Autodesk is a huge software company that does a lot of engineering, design, CAD work, and this is their basically student version in Tinkercad. So they've made this for the K-12 environment to get students started, and then it's actually become a place for a lot of hobbyists to come as well. You can see in the gallery there are just thousands and thousands and thousands of things that adults have made, students have made. It's really cool to see. This then does feed into Autodesk. So if you learn Tinkercad, it's very similar to a lot of the Autodesk projects. So it's again just like the student version. And then in a lot of our high schools, especially our comprehensive high schools, we do have access to Autodesk licenses. So this is a great way to make sure that you are vertically aligned with our high schools and then even with colleges as they use Autodesk. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Tinkercad. You can set up your classroom after you make an account pretty easy. You just have to choose your classroom name, say that you're a teacher, register, all that stuff. Then I'm going to open up my class here. The easiest way to get your students into the class is by the class link, which is right here. Drop that into Google Classroom, Schoology, Seesaw, wherever. Give them the invite code is another way to do it. And then they just log in with their Google account. They can get in and then you can have their account here and you'll be able to see what they do. In other videos on this channel, you'll be able to see how to look at what the students are doing and download and actually even do a 3D print on that. But where we really want to get students started is with some tutorials to get started right away. So please direct all of your students to the resources and the Learning Center. The Learning Center is the best place to get started. 3D environment is hard to learn at first. I always warn students that it's going to make their brains hurt. And even with adults that I've taught this, I'm saying it's going to make your brain hurt because it's going to make you think in a 3D world on a 2D screen. And that's challenging for us to do. But we can learn how to do this. So I'm going to go to the Learning Center. And right here is where we want to start right away. 3D design. My students have never done 3D design or they're new to Tinkercad. This is where I want them to go. Especially these first 12 lessons here. These first 12 tutorials are where I direct all students to do. These are actually here for the last decade. They've made some small changes to them, but they are great. My 9-year-old has gone through all of these and she's done well. She learned how to use Tinkercad really well for this. Just a trick on this is it is really great to use a mouse with a wheel, because the wheel helps you to orbit really well versus just a normal touchpad on a Chromebook. So if you have access to mice, you can scrounge up some mice from old supply closet, something like that. They are really beneficial for these lessons. So again, I'm going to direct all students here to the resources, to the Learning Center. Then I'm going to come in here and do the tutorials. Now, when I led my classes through this, what I would do is I would show them just the first couple and how to operate, and then I would let them go through it because it's going to be very self-paced. I don't want some students who pick it up really quickly to have to slow down, or other students that are struggling to not be able to get it and have to move on. So I'm going to come in here. It says I already completed. I'm just going to show it to you again. I've already done it. And I'll go reset, yes. When I lead my students through this, I make sure that they are reading the instructions. The instructions are extremely important, especially as you're starting to get into the higher numbers of these tutorials. So I'm going to go through and I want to read this. Now, this one's fairly easy and you can just figure out I need to drag a shape onto the block here. I need to put it there and I'm going to hit next. Okay, confetti, I did it. Great. Then I'm going to hit continue and I'm going to move on to the next project. So it automatically takes me to the next one, which is learn how to zoom in and out, how to orbit, and all of that fun stuff. Okay. So this is where they need to really read the instructions, especially if you're going to do a self-directed classroom with these tutorials, which I highly recommend. That if they're reading the directions, they're helping each other, then it's not going to require a ton of work from you as the teacher to get going, but they will learn the environment really well. So this is where they can learn how to view the different sides, be able to move around, stuff like that. Okay. After they have finished all of the tutorials, then I allow them to come down here and choose some of these fun ones. So and those students that are going quicker through it, that want a challenge, maybe it's just future lesson days that you have, that students then can choose from these other tutorials. These 12 are great, but they don't really teach the advanced stuff. This is where you get more advanced skills, and it walks you through, especially the chess pawn students really love. And building this chess pawn will take you like an hour, and super challenging, rigorous. Students love it. They love to be able to think through all the different shapes. You're moving shapes, you're doing punches, stuff like that. It's super awesome. Then simple, like making a name tag is fun, making your own dice. Super fun to be able to do a lot of these things here. So that I would then just allow students to do any of these projects on their own after they complete the 12 tutorials. And then they're off and running with Tinkercad. They're going to want to have fun. It's going to be challenging, but if you phrase it right, it's going to be a rigorous 3D project that students can do, and they will absolutely love it. Please reach out to your digital coach if you have any questions.